Hello, welcome back to Papa John's Pantry. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook. Questions, comments, reach out to me at papajohnspantry@gmail.com. Alright, so today we're making corn chowder. It's a fairly simple recipe. I am using, I would guess I'd call it a specialized piece of equipment. This is one of those hand blenders that you can use for to grind up the. I'm going to grind up the corn when we're getting there. The way around that would be, if you don't have one of those, because I'm not, that's not a common thing. I'm using 2 bags of frozen corn. When I use the corn in the recipe, substitute it out with 8 cans of cream corn, and then you don't have to worry about the hand blender. All right, so I'm going to be boiling I'm going to dice these up, boil these in a small saucepan. 4 white potatoes. We're going to be cutting and dicing up 2 stalks of celery, 2 onions. You're going to need a cup of bell peppers and a cup of onions. I'm just using the pound bag of it's one of those recipes that if you use frozen or fresh, it doesn't matter. So our local store sells diced onions and peppers prepared mix. We're going to be using 2 cups of diced ham. Now, I bought Smithfield ham that's already pre-diced. If you want, if you find a ham steak cheaper, cube it up to your thing. A pint of heavy cream. We're going to be using 8 cups of chicken broth. Don't need to use stock for this because we're cooking up the stuff to make stock. So you can use I'm just using the powder. It's going to get 2 tablespoons of adobo and a tablespoon of black pepper. So off camera, I'm going to dice these up and I'm going to cube up the potatoes, about the size of dice for the potatoes, and I'm going to meet you back then, okay? See you in a minute. Now I'm starting to cut stuff up. I put the carrots in my stock pot. I'm going to put the potatoes, I'm going to cover just until they're covered with water. And I'm going to start to boil these. They're going to boil for 20 minutes. And then we're going to add them to the soup once the soup's done. So I'll see you after I get done chopping up that celery. Alright, I got everything all cut up. We are going to turn the medium-sized flame, or we're turning our burner on a medium-sized flame. Let me get you in a better spot. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to just put about a teaspoon of starter oil in the bottom. We're not going to use the butter or anything for this because this is a soup we do not need to thicken. Alright, I'm adding like I said, it would be a cup of peppers, a cup of green onions. I'm using the frozen veggies that are already prepared because I like saving time. I'm going to add in my 2 cups of diced ham as well. We're just going to brown this up a little bit. This will take probably about 8 to 10 minutes to cook or to brown. We use a wooden spoon for this. Once everything's brown, we are going to, like I said, we're going to use 8 cups of chicken stock, or chicken broth rather. I'm using a powder. You can use bouillon cubes. If you get the stuff that's already in the container pre-made, great. If you're using the powder, follow the directions on the packaging. And that's it. I will see you. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be just letting this cook, browning this up for the next little bit. I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, once your veggies and your ham starts to brown up a little bit, you're going to add your 8 cups of chicken stock. Now, if you're using whole kernel corn and you're going to mash it like I am with the hand blender, you would add your corn now. If you don't have the cream corn, or if you're using cream corn, you're going to wait until after this boils a little bit. So we're going to bring this to a boil. So I'm adding my corn now because I have the hand mixer, or the hand blender. I'm going to return this to a boil. Well, I'm going to bring it to a boil. Let it boil about 5 minutes just so that the carrots get a chance to cook all the way. And then I'm going to blend this up a little bit. And if you're not using the whole kernel corn, you're using the cream of corn, so you just boil what we had beforehand. All right, I will see you once this is done. We're going to bring this to a boil for 5 minutes. So I'll see you once that happens. You can turn this up to a medium-high flame now. All right, still not boiling, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a tablespoon of adobo to this. I might need to add more later, but that's going to be a preference to, for you on how salty you want it. You don't want to be eating salt soup, but it's going to need some. So a tablespoon of adobo, and we're going to do a half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. All right, we're going to bring this to a boil. Continue to bring this to a boil. I'll see you then. So that stuff's still waiting to boil. Talking about my my hand blender. So these are expensive. I got this, like I said in one of my previous videos about our mission and keeping it real with you. This is, these can be very expensive. I got this for I want to say $6.99 at Ambets or Goodwill. I mean, you can find stuff like, and I'm not afraid to admit that because, no one's here judging me by where I have, where I did or didn't purchase my my kitchen equipment from. So, if you're watching this video, because I'm going to be using this later, and if you're like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing, but then you go to price it and on Amazon or whatever, and you see it's $100, like, oh my God, he's got a, I did not pay $100 for this. Like I said, this came from a thrift store because I make for Thanksgiving, I like making an acorn squash soup, and you have to cream the squash, and I found this for that recipe, and it just kind of make if you see some things I have or whatnot, make a list and just go thrifting, because who's going to know where you bought it from unless you tell them. So that's the story about this. All right, and I'll see you once this stuff starts to boil. And I haven't forgotten about my potatoes. Once it's been 20 minutes, I'm just going to turn them off, drain them in the colander in the sink, and then put them off to the side. We're going to add those last, just so that just to give the soup some just more texture to it. All right, so still waiting for this to boil. It's probably got about 5 more minutes, and then it's going to boil for 5 minutes, and I'll catch you once this starts to boil. All right, as you can see, we're starting to boil up a little bit on the sides. We're going to let this go for 5 minutes, and then I will see you after 5. Okay, so we're boiling. I'm going to hand mix this up some until it starts to look like corn chowder. Corn chowder. Cream corn. And it doesn't take much. Here we go. All right, and that's perfect. If you are using cans of cream corn, you'd add that now. Sorry, I'm using the same plug for everything. You'd add that now. Bring this to a boil. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add my potatoes. Add our pint of heavy cream. You'll add the potatoes and the heavy cream ones. If you're using cream corn, Bring it back to a boil, and then add your cream. Now let's mix this up. And boom, we have got corn chowder. You're gonna want to salt this to taste. It might be absolutely fine for you. If you want to make it spicier, add more crushed red pepper. And thanks for watching. If you have any questions or whatever, I'll get to them in the comments. So thanks for watching. I'll take a picture of this bowled up. All right, so I took a picture before instead of making a video. If you used a hand blender, you'll get, some of the pieces will get chopped up. If you used cream corn, your pieces are going to be bigger. So don't be thinking that, obviously with me using the hand blender, the celery and the carrots got, they got blended up into smaller pieces. So your soup might have much bigger pieces, and it's one of those things. It's a variable. So don't think you screwed up or any of that stuff. Enjoy. This stuff's delicious.